especially if you've been through a cancer diagnosis or, maybe something even major that's not related to cancer, but you want to have a fresh perspective on life. How do you go about doing that? Well, I have a really simple solution. It's my ABCs of having a fresh start in life. And I wanted to share with you some of these things to kind of give you an idea of what has worked for me as well as others that I've taught this, this system to, and give you an idea of things that maybe you haven't thought about before. Because one of the biggest things, the question is, well, how could you be happy? And I'm like, well, really the question isn't necessarily how do you be happy all the time, because it wasn't, but it's how do you get past all the negativity? The negativity that comes into your life when you're diagnosed with cancer. The first thought you have is, maybe many people have, is I'm going to die. And of course, with new technology and new things, that's not always the case, but that's the fear that we have. And then we're thrown into chemotherapy, and we're thrown into radiation, and we're thrown into all of these new drugs, and you feel like you're on a new planet because you have to try to say them all. And you're trying to figure out what to do in life, and so I know it can be overwhelming. But then you get to that point where you're like, okay, I've got a handle on this, I'm moving through to the next step, but now I don't know what to do with myself. And people keep telling me, maybe you've had this, where they keep saying, oh, you'll be back to your old self in no time. And you're thinking, no, I won't. And the reason behind that is because just like in life, you can't unexperience something. You can't say, I'm gonna, beam me back and I'm not gonna experience that. It's part of who you are now. It's part of life. And so as they're saying, well, you're gonna be back to your old self, that's kind of a comfort tool they give themselves because they're, concerned and worried about the new situation at hand, because everything changes. Nothing stays the same. Nothing stays the same because you change, your experience change, what you like about life changes, what you value changes, everything changes. So as you're trying to get a fresh start, let's go into some of these ABCs. Now, the first thing that I want you to do is to really start becoming more aware. Now, why do I say this? Well, oftentimes we sabotage our own happiness without even realizing it. The biggest thing that I see is a lot of people, so I'll ask this question. This week, did you witness a murder, a betrayal, maybe adultery? Now you're probably thinking, no, I didn't see anybody get, killed. Okay, well, let me ask you this question. Did you watch any TV shows, movies, or newscasts where you saw a murder happen, or adultery, or any other negative behavior? Guaranteed that 99.9% of you said, yes, I did. So you need to be aware that oftentimes we don't realize the negative influences that are impacting our lives because of the media, because of things we're seeing. Now, we choose to see it just like we could choose to turn it off. And just like you didn't naturally witness a murder on the street, but you're watching it, you're allowing it to come into your space, into your mind. And just like in life, you can't unexperience something. Do you realize that with your mind, that you can't unsee something? You can't unhear something. As soon as you allow that source of whatever it is to come in, your brain is awesome. It remembers everything. And maybe you're like, well, I don't remember because I've got chemo brain. Okay, we'll go through that maybe later. But it's not about chemo brain in this instance. It's like your brain is this amazing machine of sorts that can retain everything that goes into it. And you're thinking, well, I feel so negative all the time. Well, maybe it's because you're allowing negativity in. Maybe you're not even just aware that it's happening. So the first thing I really want you to become aware of is, what are you allowing into your space? When things come into your space, they can either speak life into you or inspire you, which the word inspire means to breathe life into. Okay, it makes you feel alive and aware. Or it can expire, and expire means cease to breathe. It means that, what you're bringing into your life is not adding value to you. It's not helping you feel better. It's not, revitalizing you and saying, yeah, I can do this. It's more of a downer. And people don't realize, but if you are consistently watching and listening to and reading negativity, then that will have a dramatic influence on you overall. So just become aware of what you're watching. The second thing that I want you to be aware of is the people that you're hanging around. Now, a lot of times, again, you know, we can't choose our family. Our family's there. We came by God's grace. They're there. They're who we have with us. But oftentimes, there might be outsourced people that are not, again, adding value to your life. In fact, they're not bringing in any encouragement, which, you know, it can really be a downer when you're with people who are negative all the time. And if you're with those people, then you become the sum total of that experience. In fact, Jim Rohn said that you're basically the main sum, the total sum of those 5 people that you spend the most time with. So I want you to really think about the people you hang out with. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go and just, you know, X out all your friends and say, you're too negative, I can't have you in my life. But you could start by just noticing it and being aware, because once you're aware, then you can go, oh, well, she's negative all the time, or she's really sarcastic, which, okay, in other words, sarcastic means to tear at flesh like dogs. That's what it literally means. So there's all these different ways that you can become aware of the people that are in your life, okay? The final thing with being aware is I really want you to check your words. Words are powerful. In fact, in a recent book I read called Daring Greatly by Brene Brown, she's a shame researcher, okay? She studies shame and why people act the way they do. And she said that words, negative words, can be just as painful as a physical pain, and that our bodies and our minds process it the same way. So if you're walking around all the time saying, I suck, I'm awful, guess what? Your body and your mind is going to generate that, and you will have negativity. You're not speaking life into yourself. And when you speak, those are powerful, powerful words. But I want you to realize, if I was going to talk to you the way you talk to yourself, when you look at yourself in the mirror, or when you're having those quiet moments by yourself, would we be friends? Would you want me in your presence if I spoke to you the way you spoke to yourself? Now think about that. Become aware of what you are doing, because you have the power to change. That is the most beautiful gift we have been given, is the power to change. Now you might be saying, well, you know what, you don't know my story, and you don't know this, and you don't know what's going on. You're right, I don't. But I do know that we each have the opportunity to make decisions for ourselves. And that actually moves me into the B, okay? A is aware. B is I want you to realize that everyone has a backstory of their history, okay? What came behind them. Now, if you were looking at me right now, you would go, she doesn't never had cancer. You might think that I have real boobs. I don't. I'm just saying, these are my fakies. You wouldn't know that I have gone through cancer while pregnant. You wouldn't know that I was, you know, raised in a very negative home. You wouldn't know all the stuff that I've been through, because you're just seeing what's on the outside. And you're thinking, oh, okay, well, she's this and she's that. But no, we all have a backstory, okay? We all have baggage that we've been carrying around. And you know, it's interesting, but when I was going through treatment, I had a lot of people that would come up and say, well, you just got to decide, is your cup half full or half empty? And I thought about that, and I thought, you know what? It's not about whether my cup is half full or half empty. It's that my cup is full of slime and sludge, and you don't even know what's in my cup. Because if you did, you wouldn't want to drink it either. This is not about half full or half empty. This is about reality of what's in our cup. And a lot of stuff that has been poured into our cup since we were children is basically the negativity that came from past generations, from past people who didn't make the choice to correct behaviors that were destructive. And maybe you've seen this in your own life. Maybe you go, you know, I first had the realization when I went, oh, my parents are the way they are because my grandparents are the way they are, and because my grandparents, great-great-grandparents were the way they are. And it just trickles down. And so if you're one of those people who, you know, right now you've got cancer, and granted, you didn't willingly add that to your cup. I didn't either. It wasn't something that we said, ooh, you know, fill me up on that. That's so fun. No. So it's not that always you can't say, well, they made me the way I am. No, you still have the choice. And yes, cancer came into your life and maybe that wasn't a choice. I'm sure it wasn't. But you still have the choice to do 3 things that no one can take away from you. No one. You will always be able to control your thoughts. Always. What's up here will only be yours. Always. You'll always be able to control what you speak. Because you never say anything without thinking it first. You always have to have a thought, and then it becomes a spoken word. And once you speak something, the other thing that you have a choice is how you're going to act. How you are going to act. Those 3 things. What you think, what you're going to say, and how you're going to act. Now, some of you are like, well, you know, when cancer came into my life, it knocked me down and I couldn't act the way I wanted to act. Yes, that's so frustrating. Oh my gosh, tell me about it. I was pregnant, had a mastectomy, had a baby, started chemo right away. My body didn't want to work. I mean, I understand the sheer frustration, but I could still control my thoughts, and I could still control what I was going to speak, and I could still realize that the backstory that I had that was trickled down to me, it doesn't mean that I have to live it. It doesn't mean that I have to accept the negativity that was passed and carry that weight. I mean, you guys know if you're going through cancer, you've got enough weight. There's enough pressure. There's enough crap on your plate. Your cup is full of sludge, okay? It is time. It is time to dump out your cup, okay? Clean it out. We want to completely eliminate that sludge and slime. And you're saying, well, maybe some of that is cancer. I know, I get it. But in just the, you know, the metaphorical speaking, dump out your cup. Dump it out the negativity. Clean it out. And I'm going to share with you in the next video that I present, I'm going to share with you the C and the D. This is my A and my B, but then there's a C and a D that I want to share with you that really helps you understand how you can clean out that cup. And then as you're moving forward in life, start to fill it with clean, drinkable water, if you will. Okay, clean things, things that inspire, things that you're going to want to have in that cup, that you're going to want to drink from openly, freely, again and again, and things that you'll want to share with others because they taste so good. That is what's coming up in the next video. And so for now, again, recap. Resolutions, not so much, guys, because they're just repeating themselves again and again. And we're going to talk about in the next video, too, what you can do instead of resolutions that works every time instead of never, okay? I also want you to become aware. That's my challenge to you. Become aware of the media you're watching, of the things you're allowing to come in to your space and to your life, the people that you're associating with. What kind of vibes are they giving you? Is it a positive or is it a negative? Really become aware of those things. And then the words you're speaking, what are you saying? Are you saying stuff like, I am so sick and tired? Because then you're going to get sick and tired. You got to realize you're saying what you're going to be doing. So you want to speak life into you. You want to speak truth. And then realize that there is a backstory. Everybody has a backstory. Okay? There's always going to be a backstory. But just because, you know, it's behind you, it's back, it's not in your front, it's not what your future can become, it's not who you can become. Because maybe you're sick of living through all the crap that's been dumped on you. And if that's the case, then you're in the right place, because I was too, and this is how I move forward. Then I really want you to think about your thoughts. Now, I know it's easy. Sometimes you'll have thoughts that just randomly come into your head that you didn't really even put there. We have thoughts, I don't know, like 50,000 a day. I mean, it's crazy. But I want you to really think about and become aware of your thoughts too. Think about what you think about daily. Is it positive? Is it negative? Do you dwell on the negative or do you flip it and make it a positive? That's your choice. It's always your choice. And then what you speak. Are you choosing to speak in a positive manner, or is the words that are coming out of your mouth negative? That will greatly, greatly add to your negativity that's around you because you're attracting it by what you say. And then third, how are you going to act? When I mean by act, I really mean by the choices you're going to make. Are you going to choose to stay where you are, and if it's in a place of negativity, and even if it's in a place you just want something more, you want something better out of life, you have the choice to act, to get away from the backstory and to move forward into the life that you want to live. This is time. It's time for a fresh start. It's time to dump that cup of negativity and to move into who you can be and really have the tools in place to do so. So watch for the next video I'm going to send you. It will have the C and the D for this complete system. And then I want to really hear from you in the posts below. I mean, did you like this segment? What did you like most about it? Do you have something that you're really going to be working on this week in the challenge that I've been giving you? And maybe some new things that might have, brought some new interest into your mind as we've been discussing this today. Please share it in the comments below. And as always, like this page, because that just shows me that, the content is of value to you and that I will continue to send it your way. But as always, I am wishing you all the hope, health, and happiness that you can handle.